Schools have reopened this week with primary 4, 5 and 6 students returning for regular classes. Lower primary students will take their turn next week. Meantime, school bus operators say that this weekly rotation is helpful in managing safe distancing on board those buses. However, the circuit breaker period has also raised another set of questions regarding those bus fees. Well, Gwyneth Teo put together this look at the new normal as Singapore restarts.
Nobody is sitting side by side to another child, and if there are enough seats, they are at least one seat apart from the front and back. Parents are advised to take the temperature, and we were told by the school if any of their family members are sick or on stay-home notice, they are also not allowed to take the school bus or come to school. Disinfection and cleaning of the buses are also conducted regularly after every trip.
Based on my daughter's reaction when she sees her friend, even after not seeing each other for 2 days, she will start, going close to them, hugging and holding hands. So maybe one of the things that the school can do or the bus operators can do is actually to remind the kids to not shake hands, not hold hands. I think not to even talk to each other on the buses. I think it's still all right that the kids can still continue taking the buses. And also, sometimes, parents are, like myself, we are also too busy to send the kids to school or to pick them up. So I think sometimes it's a no choice thing, and we got to live the new norm.
Around 5% of the students, they have messaged us to say that they will not be taking the school bus for the time being. So we checked with some of them, and they told us it's because they are working from home and they have the time to bring the kids to and back from school. We had a lot of parents asking us, how come I need to pay for the full 1 month when I'm only taking 2 weeks? So for us, actually, bus operators, we still have the fixed overheads when we're running the route. Our fleet of buses still need to be maintained, and we still have to pay our drivers. So if everybody requests for 50%, we might have some operating cash flow issues.
They still need to make a living, they still have buses to maintain, and there are still family to feed. So I think it's only fair that our parents also give back a little to the bus companies. It's not the full entire amount that we've got to pay. Quite supportive of the bus management companies that they are actually offering us a 30% discount, and for a month that the students are not going to school.
School was stopped suddenly first 2 or 3 days of April. So by right, that was the time when we collect back the school bus card. So it's like they haven't paid because they're still holding on to the card and they haven't started to take the school bus. Yeah, so now this week we will see how it goes for the 4, 5, 6 who have not paid, and also for the primary 1, 2 and 3 next week. Hopefully all the cards will start coming back, the school bus cards, and hopefully payment will be inside.
Well, for a closer look at this story, we're joined now by Philip Pei. He's president of the Singapore School and Private Hire Bus Owners Association. Good evening, Philip. It's good to talk to you. Let's start off with this issue of school bus fees, because some parents, they weren't so unhappy about having to pay full fees. They were unhappy, rather, about having to do that when their children weren't in school in April. Did any of your members come across this particular issue, and how did you help to resolve it?
In April is that most of the school bus operator actually already collected in full. And what we do is that we work with school to give them a kind of rebate when school resumes. This has happened in June when parents have asked to pay discounted fares. The rebate amount varies by individual company, varies from 30% to 50%. Subject to each company's offer.
So, Philip, speaking of those discounts that they were asking for, we know that speaking to some other bus firms, that other parents, they could not actually afford to pay the fees during this circuit breaker. So, how have any school bus operators, have they been forced out of business because of this?
The ability to collect the fares is critical for all the school bus operators to stay afloat especially during this time. And fares collected will fund the cost of running the operations, such as the hire purchase installment, the diesel, insurance, and car park charges, and their drivers' salaries. But during this period, there's always a school financial aid by MOE for the needy students to assist the parents who are not able to pay. So we encourage them to tap on these resources so that the school bus operators will remain relevant in this industry.
It certainly has been a tough time, Philip, but for other bus companies that are still in business, to what extent did the circuit breaker affect them?
Most of the bus operators who are doing school bus, they also do services for staff transportations as well as the school outing services. And during this period where many of the parents or those workers are working from home by the directive, and this period the school outings are also no longer valid. The revenue of most of the bus transporters are actually declined by 70 to 80%.
Philip, so how has the government relief measures for this particular sector, how has it helped?
The government actually has helped in the sense that for the drivers, the salaries, the bus attendant salaries, it comes in very handy during these periods of the 75% the government is helping us, especially also for the foreign levy which we need to pay for our foreign drivers. This has government package has actually helped most of the bus operators during this period.
So, Philip, there are plenty of overheads that the bus operators have to incur. That's despite, the circuit breaker period, business, as it were, still had to go on. So what kind of obstacles do you anticipate could further set those bus companies back and perhaps even delay recovery in phase one?
Like I mentioned earlier on, these foreign workers that which we have, we foresee that during these periods, many of the foreign drivers actually have decided not to continue working in Singapore out of fear. Many of them are like the PRCs, drivers decided to go home. And this would affect our recovery as the tight labor shortage in Singapore and the lack of suitable drivers will be able to enable us to tap on the recovery quickly. That's what we foresee.
Philip, thank you very much for those perspectives. It's been good to talk to you. Philip Pei there, President of the Singapore School and Private Hire
Thank you very much.
Bus Owners Association.